Okay, so we have to create a file system for that external volume, and after creating a file system, we have to create one external one folder on the root volume and tell and mount that using this, right? So we have to mount. Okay, you have to mount it, you have to mount. So I'm going to tell, hey, for this external disk, this is going to be a mounting point. So from now onwards, whatever I store on this folder, that has to be stored on this folder, so on this external disk. Understood? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay, now my job is done. I want to delete that volume. I want to delete that. How to delete? The steps I'm asking, how to delete?
First we have to unmount and then detach.
Exactly, you have to unmount it. Okay, okay, I want to unmount it. How to unmount? One command. What is an xvdf or something is there, right? The name of that is xvdf, right? So let me follow same name everywhere. Okay, so you have to unmount it. You have to first unmount that. You have to, so it is showing, right? When I mounted, it is showing it, right? So now first I have to unmount, right? Sudo unmount /dev /xvdf. Okay, you have to unmount it. Sudo
DF.
DF.
The file name is
Yeah.
wrong, sir. File name.
Oh, okay. No, that is
file
fine.
name.
That is fine. That is fine. But it is saying command itself is not valid. Umount. Sorry. Unmount I used here. Okay. Okay. Sorry. Sudo umount. Okay. Okay. Done. Now unmount is done. Now if I type df -h disk free, it is not showing that external volume. So earlier it was showing this also, right? df -h, it was showing mounted that external volume my dr, but it is not showing here. Means it is unmounted. Now what I have to do? I have to first, what should I do after unmounting? I have to go to my volumes.
Detach.
No, even you see here, if you go to your EC2 instance, I forgot to show you here also. When you attach it, it will show two volumes here. If you observe here, where is that volumes types? If you see here, storage. If you go to storage, sorry, I'm checking here. You can see here, XVDA you can see, and two volumes. Are you able to see this? Two volumes, 10 GB, 8 GB, two volumes it is showing, right? Next, I have unmounted it. Now I'm going to, first I need to detach it. Volume, this one, go here. First you have to detach it from the instance. Already detached. What is this? Volume, go here, detach. Okay, you have to detach it first. Detach it. So I detached, means I remove the connection from the instance. So if I refresh it, it will show the status will change from in use to available. 1 second. Did it detach it properly? Okay.
Sir.
Now it turned to available. 1 second. Now I have to delete it. Right? So unmount, detach, and then delete. Clear? The reverse steps we have to do. Is it clear, guys?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. If you have any questions about this, you ask it. General questions at the end of the class you can ask. Yes, Tejeshwar.
Here it was showing the name of the volume as /dev/sdf, but
Okay.
inside terminal it was showing xvdf. Sir.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Okay. Anyways, we will be doing this. We'll check once again. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. Fine. Next thing is the snapshots. Snapshots. I want to take a snapshot of this. So what do you want to do is select this. Here, create snapshot. One option is there. Create snapshot. Done. So now this is going to be a volume ID, right? For what we are going to take snapshot. description you write why you are taking this snapshot and all, right? See here, this is not encrypted, means I'm unable to encrypt my snapshot. Why? Because see this, while creating a snapshot, if your volume is encrypted, automatically snapshot also will get encrypted. If your volume is not encrypted, your snapshot will not get encrypted. So the root volume, while creating the root volume, I haven't selected any encryption, right? Without any encryption, I created a volume. So my snapshot also will get without any encryption. Understood? Your snapshot is encrypted, volume is encrypted. Sorry, your volume is encrypted, snapshot also get encrypted. Your volume is not encrypted, your snapshot data also will not get any encryption. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay. However, your volume is there, the same way it will get created. So description you can write and click on create snapshot. That's it. That's it. I got a snapshot. Simple. Just go on mute. Okay. Select this volume, create snapshot. That's it. That's it. My snapshot got created. How to check where my snapshot has been created? You have to go here. Go here. So far, this is the snapshot we created. This is the snapshot we created. Still, see here, still it is in pending state. It is getting created. Let it get created, because it will take some time, that 8 GB or something it is there, right? It has to encrypt and create, right? So it will get the data. Not encrypt, compressed, but it will show 8 GB only here, but actually it is not that much. Wait, it will take some time. Let it get created. Now, once I have a snapshot, using this, if I want to create a volume, select this, go here. There will be one option called as, wait a minute, create a volume from snapshot. Create volume from snapshot. That's it. That's it. Select this, go here, create volume from snapshot. Is it clear how to create a snapshot? And from snapshot, how to create a volume? So once you create a volume from this snapshot, then you know, right, how to attach it, how to mount it, create a file system. You know it, right? Hello.
I
Yes, sir.
have a question here.
Yes.
Once we attach this snapshot to any other volume, the volume of the GB of volume will
First-
get increased by
first-
default.
First, you'll not attach this snapshot to any volume. That is wrong terminology. Don't use that. Okay. You
Okay.
have to use proper terminology. You create a snapshot. Using this snapshot, you create volumes. You can create 100 volumes using this same snapshot. I have a
Okay.
snapshot. Using this snapshot, you can create 2-3 volumes. No problem. You can create. But while creating the volume, you can change the memory. It will show the default. What is the snapshot size? It is showing 8 GB, right? You created this snapshot with 8 GB volume. It will show like this. But from this snapshot, whenever you are creating a volume, see this. Now my snapshot is ready, right? I want to create a volume out of this. Here, and I'm creating a volume from this snapshot, right? See this. It will show the default memory. But if you want, you can change it. If you want to change the volume type, using this snapshot, you are creating a volume. This volume, if you want to change, you can change the volume type. If you want to change the memory, you can change it. You want to change the availability zone, you can change it. You can change it this. Understood, guys?
Yeah.
Is it clear? I'm not going to create a volume, but you understood, right? It is like creating a new volume, but the data will come from the snapshot. Whatever options you want to get for the new volume, you can get that. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir. We have to be careful that while creating volume,
Yeah, creating
machine also should be in the same availability zone.
availability zone. Yes, yes.
Okay,
Now,
sir.
So one more thing, small doubt, sir.
yes.
While creating a snapshot, if you change the zone, it will be created.
Wait. Now the interview question will be like this. Yeah, good doubt. That is actually that is what I am about to tell. That the interview question will be like this. I have created an EC2 instance on EBS volume in one availability zone, but the same data now I want it in some other availability zone. I have a volume of an instance, right, in one availability zone, but I want the same volume data should be available in some other availability zone for some other instance. What we can do is we can create a snapshot out of that volume, change it to some other snapshot. using that snapshot, create a new volume, change the availability zone to some other availability zone. There you create an instance and use that external volume as a that created a volume, whatever we created with the snapshot, right? That volume you can use that as a external volume to the new instance, which is available in some other availability zone. Understood? It's not clear.
Can explain once again, sir?
See, the interview question will be, I have a instance one and volume 1 in availability zone 1. Now, the same data present on the volume, I want it on availability zone 2. How you will get it? So for that volume, which is on availability zone 1, create a snapshot, right? Create a snapshot. Now, using that snapshot, create one more volume in availability zone 2. Then you launch a new instance in availability zone, and attach that instance volume to whatever you created from snapshot, right? You attach that as an external volume to that instance 2, which is in availability zone 2. Understood?
Got it.
Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Yeah.
No problem.
Okay. Okay, that is how they'll ask scenario based. So you have to think of an answer. Now I want to delete my snapshot. Take this.
Sir, here image option is there. Is that
This
different?
one, I don't know, man.
Okay.
We'll see. So using that, you can directly create a instance itself. I think so. I'm not sure. Okay. Go on mute. See, why these people will not go on mute? I don't know. How many times I have to tell? It's not good. You're not. Someone else is asking question, doubt. Why you will unmute? Keep it on unmute. If you have question, you unmute it. I'm encouraging, right? If you have any questions, you ask me. Simply disturbing others. Even see, I will forget here. Teaching is not so easy. Yeah, I have to go in a flow, right? Because one thing is you only seeing, right? One thing is related to something else. If I miss one point, again gone. Okay. Anyways, leave it. So, but try to habituate that whenever you want to ask question, only that time unmute, ask, keyboard unmute. Okay. So it will be good for you and me both. I'll not miss any point. If else I'll forget something, I'll go to some other topic and I'll miss something. Yesterday, related to images, I missed one important point, Okay, I'll tell that today at the end. Okay. So now I'm going to delete the snapshot. You delete the snapshot. Done. Understood?
Sir, I
Guys?
have a doubt, sir.
Yes.
Sir, if I created a snapshot from 10 GB volume
Okay.
and I want to create another volume with, taking that snapshot
Okay.
with an 8 GB volume,
How can you do?
is
You
it
only
not
tell
possible?
me.
Sir?
You only tell me that is a general knowledge you use, right? If I have 10 GB data, if you try to create a volume with 8 GB, will it come at least?
Yes, sir.
You lose the data. Can you do that? No, it's not doable. Okay.
So we have to take care of the volume.
Same size or more size you have to use.
Okay, okay, sir.
Okay, fine.
Thank you, sir.
Sir,
Okay.
one more thing. It is only shifting between availability zone,
Yes. Yes.
not the region, right?
Not the region.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Next. Okay, that's it about volumes and snapshots, guys. Now I'll discuss about one of the important concept, too much important concept, that is like the I can tell this is the most important topic in EC2, not in AWS, in EC2, right? In entire AWS course also, this is one of the important thing. Now I'll tell one scenario. The guys, those who attended DevOps, for them it is too much important. For everyone it is important, but concentrate here. I have a EC2 instance. Okay, let me take here. I have a EC2 instance. So by creating this Linux instance, one of the website I deployed here using some application servers or whatever it is, somehow I deployed one application here. Now, how many users, how to access this is with like this IP address. For example, http:// IP address, public IP address of that mission, 8080 port number, something like this. I have to access it. Yes or no? Now, one thing is the IP address may change. Even I may use elastic IP, but still there is even sometimes I lose the elastic IP or some reason, or else if I don't use elastic IP address keep changing, right? So that I cannot tell my end users, hey, for that Wikisoft or KC Technologies website, use this IP address for this week. Next week, can I share that some other IP address with end users? If that is the case, no one will come to me. They'll go to some other website, right? Now, that is one point. Next thing. Today, the capacity of this application is like 1,000 users. Okay, so 1,000 users. Now my application become very popular. My application has become very popular. 2,000 users are coming. This instance alone cannot handle the load. So can I tell 1,000 users use this and some other user? I'll create one more instance. I'll create one more instance, deploy my application there. Can I tell 1,000 users to use this IP address and different IP address for 1,000 users? Can I tell like that?
Yes.
No.
This is a bad approach. So what you can do is you can create you can create one load balancer. Instead of using this, what you can do is you can use load balancer. Okay, let me do that. 1 second. Okay, so this is important. Auto scaling I'll explain after this, right? I'll use load balancer. So that there will be a load balancer. I'll give this URL. This looks something like this. http:// something abc123.amazon.com region dot something. Okay, there will be a format. I'll tell that later. I'll show you that. So something like this. So I'll take one load balancer. So this load balancer URL I'll give to end users. What this load balancer can do is I'll give this details to my end users. They'll hit it. So if 500 users are coming, 250 here, 250 here it will go. If 1,000 users are coming, 500 here, 500 here. If 2,000 users are coming, 1,000 here, 1,000 here. If 3,000 users are coming, 1,500, 1,500. But this capacity of these two instances are only like 1,000 requests. So what I'll do is I'll create one more instance. I'll deploy my application here. Okay, I'll deploy my application here also. Here on the third instance. I'll attach to this. So when they use that load balancer, automatically load balancer means it is going to balance the load. Means how much your load? 3,000 user requests. My website is accessed by 3,000 user requests. So 1,000 it will route here, 1,000 here, 1,000 here. It will basically load the balance the load. Understood, guys? It is going to balance the load. So this is called as load balancer. Have you understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
So for this load balancer, if you have to predict, okay, so today 1,000 users came. Tomorrow we are going to launch a new batch, means we are going to start a new batch. So many users may visit my application for the course content. So if you predict that, you have to manually increase the instance. After the new batch is done, very less people means the number of people will reduce. So unnecessarily I have to pay for this. So let me remove this one. 2 instances will be able to handle the load. That's enough. This is with the load balancer. Understood, guys? But load balancer will share the load, right? You don't need to use IP address and all. You can use some name. It can balance the load. Understood?
Okay.
Yes, sir.
But who wants to increase the number of instance and attach to the load balancer? Who want to remove the number of instance? We manually has to do. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
So
sir.
first I'll show you this today. Next, what we'll do is automatically based on the load, I want to increase the number of instances. Based on the load, I want to reduce the number of instances. That we will discuss tomorrow. Understood? Here, if I use
Okay.
only load balancer, I have to predict, I have to check whether the load is able to, the two instances, existing instances, 2 or 3, whatever it is there, right? I can use n number of instances. I can use 100 also, no problem. You can use 1000 instances. Your load balancer will be able to balance the load. But I have to check whether the existing 2 instances or 20 instances or 2000 instances, whether these are able to handle the load, whether they need one more few more instances to support the load, or else if there are more instances, whether I want to, how many I want to remove. You have to predict. But if I don't want to do that, I want to tell AWS itself, hey, you check the load. You check the load. If the load is high, you delete the number, you increase the number of instances. If load is reduced, right? How many instances I can delete? You tell them either 1 or 2 or delete. If the load is less than like lesser load is there, you remove 2 instances. This option we have to get, we can get only in AWS. The concept is called as auto scaling. That concept you can get only in the cloud providers like AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. If you are using virtual machines, right? Without a cloud, if you try to do this, it cannot. Auto scaling is not possible very easily. You have to write a lot of script and all to do it. But that auto scaling, I'm not going to discuss. But I'm going to discuss this normal load balancer and instances. Okay. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Next, if you don't want to get this name, this don't have this name, what you can do is you can buy a domain like this, wikisoft.com or kctechnologies.com, something like that you can buy, and in your Route 53 one service I said, right? http://kctech.com. If you type this, all right, you can mount. You need to have load balancer. There is something called as a Route 53. There is something called as Route 53. Route 53. So you have to tell, you have to map to this load balancer. So if someone types in the internet, in their browser, if they type like this Wikisoft or kctech.com, that your Route 53 will understand and will route this to load balancer, and load balancer will route the traffic. Because this name is bigger, something XYZ ABC123.amazon.com, something, it is very bigger, right? I don't, if I tell this to my end users, they may not be able to remember this. So that's why I want to get a proper domain for that. So I got the domain like this. In my Route 53, I have to mount it to load balancer. So when they hit this, it will internally go to load balancer, from load balancer to the instances. Understood, guys?
Yes, sir.
Okay, but anyways, we are not going to discuss about Route 53. I'm just saying for your knowledge, right? I'll create this load balancer. Okay, next I'll go here. I have an instance, right? Which zone it is? 1B, I think, right? 1B. So let me create one more instance in 1A, launch instance. Launch instance. I'll create this. Configure. Next. Wait a second. Here I'll select availability zone. I'll select 1A. So the other instances was in 1B, right? Now I'll select it in 1A, different availability zone. The instance is getting launched. Instance 1, I'll name it as 1B. I'll name it as 1A. Okay. By the time 1A launches, I'll go to 1B and I'll install few softwares there. What I'll do is, for proof, I want to show you the proof, right? Whether the traffic is routing or not. So what I'll do is, I'll connect to that instance. I'll connect to this instance. I'll go here, cd // oh, I don't have this. First, let me install sudo install httpd. I'm going to install that httpd server. This is not for AWS. This is not load balancing concept. This is the proof. For proof, I'm doing like this, right? cd // this part vi index.html. I'm creating one file. Insert one HTML content. This is just for to show you. I'm going to write like this. H1 I am from instance 1B availability zone. In short, we call as AZ. Means AZ means AZ. We call it as availability zone. Okay, I'm closing it. Okay, me copy escape colon WQ. Oh. Just let me copy this. Let me open with sudo. Okay, now sudo service httpd. Okay, started. Now if I try to directly access this instance, if I try to directly 1B, if I try to access this, it should show like this. It should show 1B instance 1B. Is it showing that? It's showing that, guys?
Yes.
Okay. Now I'll do the same thing on the other instance. I'll go here, take this. I'll exit from here. I'll connect to the second instance. This is 1A, right? So now here also sudo yum install httpd -y. This is there in the document. The steps also I have given you, no need to worry. Then sudo slash here sudo pi index.html. Add h1 from instance 1A. You see, AZ means availability zone. Okay, so service start AD. Okay, now this, if I try to access this, instance 1A directly, that should be able to, should be able to. So 1AZ. Okay, so let me change that into high. Oh, I closed it here. Sorry, that is a problem. Okay, H1. Now if I try to access this, okay, is it showing? If it is type this 1A, 1B, are you able to see the difference, guys? Directly, if I access the instance.
Yes, sir.
Now, how many instances I have? 2 instances with the different text. That is not a load balancing concept. Now I'm going to start the load balancing concept. For proof, I added that. Now I'm going to load balancer. So I created 2 instances, right? I want to create a load balancer for these 2. But the problem is not a problem actually. Those 2 are in 2 availability zones, 1A, 1B. Next, for proof, I installed both HTTPD server on both the instances and I gave different text. So now I'm going to the load balancers, right? Create load balancer. There are different types of load balancers. This is gateway load balancer. It is a newly came one. So there is something called as network load balancer, application load balancer. This is very much important. Different between application load balancer and network load balancer. Difference between application load balancer and network load balancer. Okay, we will see this later. Okay, we'll see the difference later. For now, let me go and create a application load balancer. Okay, create. There is something called as classic load balancer. It is at the bottom. If you want to see, you can see this. I'll go back here, create load balancer. So application, network, gateway load balancer, and the other one is classic load balancer. It is outdated. AWS itself, it is saying previous generation, don't use it like that. It is saying, okay. So now I'm going to create this application load balancer, create, right? Next, if you want to know how it works and all, you can read it here. We'll read that tomorrow. Load balancer name. I'm going to name it like my load balancer. my load balancer. Okay, my load balancer. You can give any name here. I'm giving my load balancer. This is for internet or only for internal purpose. We want to use it with internet. So internet facing. IPv4, yes, leave it. VPC, we have only one VPC. This load balancer will get one IP address. What it will get one public IP address, right? One private IP address. Where this has to be created, we don't know as of now VPC. Even while creating EC2 instances also, we are using default VPC, right? So give the default VPC. I'll discuss about this more. Where it has to route the traffic. Where it has to route the traffic. Where our two instances are there. One is in AP South 1A, the other one is AP South 1B. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Those two we have to select. Means if you access this load balancer, to which availability zones it has to route the traffic. It has to load, send the route traffic, right? Where it has to route the traffic. These two availability zones, 1A and 1B. If you select 1C, means it's useless. There is no instance. If you select 1B, only one. If you select only 1A, always this load balancer, whatever the traffic it gets, it will send only to 1A instance, because you selected only 1A as a routing traffic availability zone to route the traffic. So wherever you want to route the traffic, those two you have to select here, right? Next, security group. This security group I'll tell. See guys, what is security group? Instance level security. Instance level security, right? Yes or no? You know, right? You know it very well. Same
Yes,
like
sir.
that, your load balancer also need to have a security group. Now, whatever your EC2 instances allowing the traffic, the same should be allowed here also. Here also. Else, for example, I am allowing 8080 port. For example, I am allowing 80 port number here, but if I block it here, security group, your load balancer security group itself will not allow that 8080. So even if you allow here, it's useless. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So whatever
sir.
the traffic you need to allow in your security group, that has to be allowed in the security group, whatever you are using for your load balancer. To solve that headache, to remove that headache, I'm not going to use this default security group. I'm going to use the same security group, right? Whatever I used, the security group I used for my instances, the same security group I'm using here. But in real time, we should not use like this. We have to use a separate security group for load balancer. You have to use separate security group, but allow the same rules. Allow the same rules. Whatever you are allowing for your instance, the same rules you allow it to this security group also, but use separate security group here and here. Don't use same security group. For time being, just now, I'm not sure what allowed in the default, whether I modify it or not. I'm selecting that. And so listener means on which port number this security group has to work. Load balancer has to work, right? The same port number, HTTP 80. I'm selecting and create a load balancer, right? Next, I created a load balancer. Next, okay. Create a target group. Okay, this is very much important. 4 minutes is not enough. Let me explain. I think you need to join back, guys. I complete this. I'll tell you. See how we have security group, like that load balancer is there. Security group. Okay. In real, we have to use a different security group. But for now, I used all two instances and load balancer. I use same security group. Okay. Leave out the load balancer for now. If I want to access that HTTPD server, how to access that? HTTP:// public IP address of this instance :80. This is how I access. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So your instance is accessible with IP address, and your HTTPD server is listening on port number 80. So when you type 80, then only here, for example, if you see here, if I change it to :80, so default port number it will not take. But if I take 81, will it listen? If I give 81, will it listen? No. If I give 80, then it will work. The default port number, it is working. So means your HTTPD server is, or else the instance is listening on 80 port number. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So now here, Your load balancer also, to access load balancer, your load balancer also is, load balancer is nothing but like instance only. Load balancer is nothing like one of the instance. How we have EC2 instance, same like that, it is also one instance. It will get one public IP address, private IP address and all. What it needs security group, everything, but you don't have volume and all, you don't have. But the purpose of this is just to take the load and balance the load, route the load to different instances.
Your voice is breaking.
Is it breaking, guys, to everyone?
No, sir.
No, I
No.
think
No, sir.
from your end, you check it from your end. Okay, others are able to hear. Okay, say this load balancer is able to route the traffic, right? That is its purpose. Now, if I want to access it, it also need to be accessed. It also need to be accessed. Actually, here the port number will be there 80, but you no need to give the port number 80. Why? Because the default port number is there, right? So this is saying that load balancer should work on what port number? The load balancer should listen on what port number? 80 port number, right? Next, you have to create target group. So what is this target group is? Okay, what is this target group is? Once I receive that request, once the load balancer receives the request, right, the load balancer will listen on this port number. The request will come here. What is going to be my targets? The instances. Instances are going to be my targets, where it has to route the traffic, right? So you can, sorry, here. Okay, when I clicked on this, create target group, it has came. So what is going to be our target? Means the load balancer. What is the target for your load balancer to route the traffic?
Instances.
Instances. So you have to select. So load balancer can route the traffic to any specific IP addresses, private IP addresses, Lambda functions, application load balancer to some other application load balancer. Like that, it can route instances. For us, the targets are instances. So you name it something. Target group. My first target group. Okay, for now. So the target group means once that, sorry. So once that request is received, it has to route the traffic. So how it has to route from here to here? So we want to route to 8080 port number. Means the web server is running on the 80 port number only. I have to run with that HTTP 80 port number. Means on the target instances, what it has to access actually through HTTP 80 port number. Our web servers are running with target HTTP 80 port number, and they are on the default VPC and HTTP1 protocol we have to use. And this health check, you don't know as of now, you leave this. I'll discuss tomorrow on, not tomorrow, now only. I'll just let me click on this next, and I'll show you. You just rejoin back, I'll show you. So for this load balancer, how many targets are there?
Two.
After creating the target group, you come here. I created the target group here, right? So, okay, create target group, just create it.